Alright, it's time for ninjas to return in buddy fight with Zanya's ride line along with Tsukikake. So let's begin. Here's the starter. Once again, it's the flag Katana World. Not gonna go over it since it's basically generic flag like Dragon World, except this is just used with generics in Katana World, in which we go to the Grade 1 Wiki Power, Aibo Academy Zanya Kisaragi, which has a skill of auto. When placed by riding on top of the Katana World, cost reveal a Grade 3 Zanya from your ride deck, put a Shinobi Scroll token into the order zone, which will go after the ride line. In which we go to the Grade 2 with Tenki Power, first rank of Elementary School Division Zanya Kisaragi, which has a skill auto. When rolled upon by the Grade 3 Zanya, look at the top 5 cards of your deck to choose up to one Ninja Arts card or one Ninja card that is not sent from among them, reveal it, and of course put it to your hand, of course shuffle your deck. Typical Grade 2 that just helps you search basically. In which we go to the Grade 3 with Tenki Power, aim to be the ninja user of Justice Zanya Kisaragi, which has the skill count. During your opponent's turn, you can play up to 2 orders, aka 2 Blitz orders, and this is a Blitz order heavy deck. So I kinda already like the playstyle. And in a way, it's already a reference to the original playstyle because Zanya is all about countering your opponent. In which the second skill is Act Vanguard once per turn, cost counterblast 1, choose up to one of each ninja arts without sentinel and one ninja card without sentinel from your drop zone and put them to your hand. Recycling is always pretty nice, especially for a counterblast for a +2. In which the third skill is Clear Security, which is the name skill. Act Vanguard once per turn, cost Soul Blast 1, choose 3 cards from your drop zone and put them face down as gauges. Soul Blasting 1 for 3 gauge charges is just very nice, especially since it's buddy fight. So of course not much to say here, everything revolves around support. In which we go to the Shinobi Scroll set order token for ninja arts. Once again, it's a token, so it's not played in the main deck, and the skill is Act Order Zone once per turn, cost pay 1 gauge, put a card from your hand face down as a buddy soul, and draw a card. This is going to be relevant, especially for your different forms of your buddy. But anyway, the second skill is Act Order Zone once per turn, choose a ninja arts other than a Blitz order from your buddy soul and play it. And yes, this does count towards the order limit of the turn. But essentially, you can basically use your buddy soul as basically an order engine. In which we go to the next skill, where Auto Order Zone at the end of your turn, if you have at least a Grade 3 Vanguard Zanya, and you do not have a Secret Sword Lethal Formation or Order Zone, aka the Impact card, cost pay 3 gauges and say Final Phase. Choose a Secret Sword Lethal Formation from your buddy's soul and put it into the Order Zone. Basically, it's just your alternate way of playing your Impact card, which we will go over later as well. But the final skill is Auto Order Zone once per turn. When your Vanguard text, choose a Ninja Arts Blitz order from your buddy's soul and play it. And this does count towards the limit as well. For set order token, this card has so much flexibility. Lets you play orders on your own turn and lets you play blitz on your opponent's turn. And even lets you play your impact card as well and lets you cycle out your deck. So that's another strong point about this deck. Even though it does cost 1 gauge per turn just to cycle out your deck, you have gauge charging from the drop zone from Zanya. But once again, it's another one of those cards that relies on its support. In which it's time to buddy call Nano Machine Ninja Tsukikake, which is a Grade 2 with Tenki Power, and the skill is auto. When placed on rearguard and you did not call another copy of it this turn, cost pay 1 gauge, retire this unit, search your deck or drop zone for up to 2 Grade 2 or less ninjas with different names that are not Sentinel and put them to your hand. And of course, if you search your deck, shuffle it. Basically, you're going to be searching 2 different ninjas that's basically another form of himself and basically his brother. That's basically the idea here. But the next skill is Count Rearguard during your opponent's turn. When this card will leave the rearguard, you may discard a card from your hand instead. This is basically a worse version of Soul Guard, and technically you're most likely not going to use this skill just because you're going to occupy yourself with the first skill. Although at the same time, you will be needing this card for another specific card. In which, before we continue off, let's go to the chibi version, Nano Machine Ninja Tsukikage SD, which is a Grade 1 IQ power, and the skill is auto. When placed on rearguard, costs pay 1 gauge, choose a Nano Machine Ninja Byakuya SD from the drop zone and call it to rearguard. Basically, you're calling its brother. This is going to be important for setup because you're going to have both of them on the field. In which we go to the second skill, where Act Rearguard, choose one of your ninja rearguards. If that unit has a buddy soul that does not have the same card name as this unit, you can put this card into the buddy soul. Obviously, it's going to be more cost, or in some cases soul guarding, so of course that's going to be helpful. In which the final skill is Count. If your opponent's Vanguard is at least Grade 3, your unit in this buddy soul gets plus 5k power and plus 5k shield, active on your opponent's turn as well, of course. Once again, the chibi Grade 1s is just acting as support. In which we go to the brother, Nano Machine Ninja Byakuya SD, which once again is a Grade 1 AK power, and it has this name skill Shadow Dive, where Count Rearguard during the battle this unit attack, your opponent cannot intercept. And most of your other Tsukikage forms are going to have this as well. In which the second skill is Act Rearguard. When this card attacks or boosts, if your opponent's Vanguard is at least Grade 3, and you have a Rearguard that is Tsukikage or Fujimaru, this card gets 5k power and you need to end the battle. It's an okay 13k attacker that prevents intercept, but you still just need to run it just because it is part of the deck. in which we go to the big version of him, Nano Machine Ninja Byakuya, which is the grade 2 attacking power and has the Shadow Dive ability once again with the second skill. Auto Rearguard once per turn. If your Vanguard is at least a grade 3 Zanya, cost this card cover in hand to stand this unit. This is basically your multi-attack engine for the deck, and yes, discarding a card can suck a bit, but considering that this deck is going to be filled with orders, maybe not, but do watch out for this sometimes, even if it's just discarding a 0 shield. In which the second skill is Auto Rearguard. When this card attacks at least a grade 3 unit, if you have a Rearguard that is Tsukikake or Ujimaru, this card gets reflecting power in the end turn. 15k attacker on its own that can restand itself. Pretty nice. In a way, a reference to the Buddy Fight anime where Tsukikage does more support and Boryakura does more offense. And now it's time to combine them both together into Cool DD Gojimaru, which is a grade 2 with attacking power, and the call cost is pay 1 gauge, and put both a Tsukikage and Boyakuya from your rearguard into this card's buddy soul. And that's what I mean, that you're gonna need both of them. So, auto rearguard when this card attacks, if you have a buddy soul ninja plus 5k, this is guaranteed to happen. It also has the Shadow Dive ability, which is also going to be very helpful. Has the double attack ability, and based on the sound of that, it's auto rearguard once per turn at the end of this unit attack. If you have at least a grade 3 Vanguard in stand position, cost count plus 1, stand this unit. And it also has the Soul Guard ability. So basically, it's another multi-attacker alongside your Byakuya, but this one costs a counterblast instead of a discard. Although this one doesn't have the condition where your Vanguard must be in a stand position. But in a way, this is considered Zanya's strongest monster because this is 2 main ninjas combined as one. And now we go to Zanya's main item, 5 Heavenly Swords Onimaru, which is a grade 1 normal item, which also has the Japanese blade text that is also a weapon. So you arm it to your Vanguard, and you play it by paying 1 gauge. So its skill is Auto Vanguard when the arm unit attacks plus 5k, and then costs Soul Blast 1. This unit also gets crit plus 1, and then at the end of battle, put this card into your drop zone. Basically, since Zanya doesn't really do anything on his own, this is basically a way to give your Vanguard Zanya some crit pressure on your opponent. And it doesn't even require a great restriction on your opponent as well. And it's even nice that you could even apply the crit pressure in the early game as well, because you could play this straight up in grade 1 turn. Just do watch out for the soul, as you're not going to have any ways to really soul charge in this deck. And now let's go to the Ninja Arts card, starting off with Arts of Explosive Hades Fall, which is a grade 1 and you play it by paying 1 gauge. And it's a set order, and the skill is Auto. When put to the order zone, search your deck for 1 card and put it to your buddy's soul face down, and of course shuffle your deck. Very nice to basically fill up some resources for your main rearguards, in which the second skill is Auto Order Zone. When your opponent's rearguard is placed during the main phase, discard a card from your buddy's soul, and if that card has the same grade as this discarded card, retire that unit. This doesn't nullify on place abilities, but basically what it means is that anything your opponent calls, you could actually just kill it before they enter battle. Which in some cases is pretty nasty, because it could even be one of their most important rearguards as well. Of course, it is dependent on your buddy's soul, but just having access to this is actually pretty strong. And then we go to Futon's Sweeping Whirlwind, which is grade 1, normal order, ninja arts. And the skill is choose a ninja unit card that is not sent out from a drop zone and put it to your hand, which is always very nice. In which the second skill is Auto, when discarded from hand by a card ability, put the top card of your deck face down as gauge and then draw a card. Here's a nice discard target that you can use. In which we go to a Blitz Order Ninja Arts Sword Skill Bare Hands Intercept, which is a grade 1 and you choose one of your units being attacked plus 15k shield until the end of the battle, and if your opponent attacks a Vanguard, you may draw a card. A 15k shield that can cycle itself. Pretty nice. And it's also very nice that it's a grade 1, so you can play on your grade 1 turn as well. In which we go to the next Ninja Arts, which is a Blitz Order, Ninja Arts Snake Gaze, which has the skill. Choose one of your units being attacked, plus 15k power in the end of the battle, then cost discard card from your hand, choose one of the attacking rearguards, and that unit gets this skill in the end turn. Count rearguard, this card cannot stand. Basically, this is just anti-restanding rearguards, which actually could be very helpful depending on the matchup. Especially on those decks that can restand the rearguards, this is actually quite helpful to prevent some multi-attacking. And finally, Art of Body Replacement, which is a Sentinel, and you play it by discarding card from your hand. Of course, it got the Sentinel Nullify ability, with the unique part where choose a ninja with that Sentinel from drop zone and put it to your hand and then remove this card. This is actually making me wish that the main nations actually get unique Sentinels now. But do keep in mind this does count as your Blitz Order as well. And now it's time for final phase, Secret Sword Lethal Formation, which is a grade 3 set order impact, and you cannot play this card. And once again, auto hand at the end of the turn if you have at least a grade 3 respective Vanguard, this time Zanya. And if your order zone does not have a copy of it, pay 3 gauges and say final phase and put this to the order zone. So the skill is auto. When put to the order zone, search your deck or drop zone for up to 1 card and put this into the Buddy Soul. And of course, if you search your deck, shuffle it. This is of course the reference to the original one in Buddy Fight, where you basically say the final phase and you put a secret card into this card's Buddy Soul so your opponent cannot find out what it is, because it's going to counter your opponent with the next skill. Where count order zone, if your opponent drive check reveals a trigger that is not healed over, if this card has a face down Buddy Soul as the same trigger icon as the reveal card, you may turn it face up and then nullify the power increase, and then perform one of the following depending on the trigger icon. If it's a crit, your opponent's Vanguard gets crit -1. If it's a draw, your opponent chooses a card from your hand and discard it. And if it's a front, your opponent's front row gets minus 10k. Just like the original one in Buddy Fight, you're basically predicting what your opponent's going to do. Although in this case it's more luck because this is on drive checks. But depending on the matchup and the one-time nullifying on the trigger, this could actually be a huge impact. And then finally, here are the higher rarity versions of existing cards that has been revealed, which surprising to me is that they also are bringing back the holo rarity. I guess that since they're not doing frame rares, they're doing holos here, which in my opinion, I prefer holos over frame rares, but that's just me. We also got the ultimate rare stuff, and of course the secret rare stuff. And so that's it for the new Zanya and Tsukikake ride line. What do you guys think of it? Overall, it's a pretty interesting ride line. Of course, once again, it focuses on orders and blitz orders, which is basically Tsukikage's original playstyle with Zanya. And overall, I kind of like it since it's an order-based deck. But in that, there's not much to say other than that Buddy Fight is just bringing some interesting stuff into Vanguard. And now it's time to see you all next time.